Welcome back to Phillips Hot Rod Garage. Alright guys, thanks for stopping by, hanging out another week at Phillips Hot Rod Garage. This week, we're going to restore this piece right here. I don't even know what you call it. Rear cross member, rear piece of the sub rail. I don't know. Alright, so the plan for this week is to restore the rear body cross member. We're going to get this thing off here. We got blasting to do. We got welding to do. We got to get some threads repaired. Don't go anywhere. We're about to make this cross member look like a brand new one. We're going to restore this body cross member so we can get the rear body panel and the rear cross member bolted back together. When we get these pieces back together, then we're going to be in a good position to start putting those rear sub rails in. So don't go anywhere. We're finna get to work. All right, so before I get too deeply involved in this, does anybody know what these holes are for? Maybe somebody can comment on the video and tell me. I know there's bolt holes in here that hold this piece on. Right there, you can see the bolt holes. But there's extra holes in this panel that there's no bolts to go in. There's no threads. So I don't know what they're for. Does anybody know? I have no idea. The car was disassembled when I got it, so maybe those are for the floor pan. Maybe the floor pan comes back that far and rivets down or something. I don't know. I don't have any idea. Can anybody tell me what those holes are for? All right, so before I get this thing off here, I better take some measurements. I need to know how far it is from the cross member there at the B pillars back here to the rear body cross member. That's 47 7/8. Let me measure on this side. Same thing, 47 7/8. So that should be all the measurement that I need. 47 7/8. Oh, I gotta write myself a note here. All right, got that wrote down. Now, as long as I know that measurement between the cross members, I should be able to get it lined back up with no issue. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. All right, so the driver's side's loose. Got the spot weld cut loose and the quarter panel's completely rusted loose. But over here on the passenger side, I still got something holding it. I thought this thing was rusted completely free like the driver's side was. But as you can see, I got to get in there and grind that off. Well, it came off. Fell off. That'll work. All right, so what have I got to do to get this piece restored? Let's take a good look at it. All right, so right away, I know I've got to replace these threaded inserts. I know I got to do that. I got to weld up these holes here. Then on this side, I got 3 there to weld up. I got some old pieces of sub rail here that's got to come out on both sides. That's got to come out. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this piece out of the inside as well. The reason for that is it's got some rust right over here. And also it's got quite a bit of rust between the layers in here. So if I take that piece out, I can go ahead and sandblast the inside of it. What I'll be left with here will be just the outside shell of it. and I'll replace this piece in here with something else. And also, I'm not going to need this piece curved out anymore because the subrail is not going to be fitting right here anymore the way it did originally. Those new subrails actually sit a little bit higher in the car. Once they're put in, they're going to sit up like this above this piece. So they're not going to sit down here anymore like this does. So I don't even need any of that. All I need is this outer shell of that piece. That's all I need. So we're going to go ahead and start ripping it apart. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is clean up around these rivets here so I can see what I'm doing and see if I can get these ground off to get this piece separated from the subrail. All right, that's better. Now, I gotta get a grinder and grind those off. So in case you guys are wondering why I'm using this tool, yeah, I know this is a painter's tool, but you know what? These things are cheap. They're strong, depending on which brand you buy. You can use them to separate metal panels. Just beat them down between the panels. You can cut spot welds loose with them. You can cut through rivets with them. You can scrape stuff with them. You can pry on stuff with them, like this. And they just work. You beat the thing to death and then you throw it away and you've lost $6. These things work. So do safety glasses. Got it. All right, so let's flip it around and do the other side. All right, guys, so I try not to grind too much on the part that I'm saving. Once you get down to where the head of the rivet's going, you kind of got to slow down on the pressure a little bit. Don't want to grind too deep or you'll grind away too much of the metal you're trying to keep. Let's see if I can knock these down a little. If I can't, then I'll just have to do it like I did the other end. Yep. Doing the same thing the other end did. Figured it would. Yep. They don't want to come out that way, so back to this thing again. And look at that. Look how nice that tool worked. Perfect. And before somebody says, why are you wearing sunglasses when you're working in the shop? You can't see what you're doing. Well, guys, these safety glasses look good. These aren't sunglasses. These are snap-on safety glasses. Shouldn't have bought them. It was an impulse buy. They cost too much. I'm gonna let you guys look through these. I want you to see what they look like. Check this out. Yeah, look how good you can see through these things. That's what I'm seeing when I'm working. They don't look near as dark as you think they would. But yeah, they do look a whole lot darker when you look at them from the outside than they do from the inside. I can see through them just fine. But hey, I think they look cool. And they work good. Everybody needs a nice pair of safety glasses. I mean, these are just some old Harbor Freight ones. I'd much rather have these snap-on ones on than those Harbor Freight ones. So, all right, let's get back to work. Next thing I got to do is, get this piece out right here. That's the next thing to do. Let's get that done right now. All right, so there's a rivet right here on each corner that I got to get out. I'm gonna get those out now. Well, it came loose, but instead of coming out right here, it came out of that piece. Either way is fine. Let me get the other side. All right, that one's already out. Now, what's next? All right, I said a minute ago the next thing to do was pull this out, but then I got sidetracked with those rivets. Those are out, so now it's time to get this out. That's the next thing to get out. All right, so what's holding that in? There's some spot welds right along this edge that I need to get out. They are pretty easy to locate with this. If you take this piece, drive it down between the layers, bend it a little, do the same thing a little further down, bend it a little. It'll show you right where the spot welds are. There's one right there, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, you can see it right here. Hammer this down in there. Bend it back and forth a little. Hammer it in right here. Bend it back and forth. And then it'll leave right there the spot weld. I'll show you right where it is. So there's a couple of things I can do here. I can come in here and drill through the outside to get rid of the spot weld, or I can grind off the inside of the spot weld right here. Either way works. I'm gonna have to have some holes drilled through here to weld to my new piece I put in here anyway. So I could go ahead and drill it, but I guess maybe the best thing to do for now might be just grind them off, just get rid of this piece. I'm not gonna use it anyway. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just try to get it out of there the best way I can, fastest way possible. But before I start grinding, I gotta find all of them so I can mark them. so I know where to grind. All right, I know I got one right here. Got that one. Let me find the rest of them. All right, so finding all these is gonna take a minute, so we're going on fast forward. All right, so gotta flip it around and find the one on the other side. Oh, lots of rust coming out of there. All right, let's find them. All right, so I found them all. I know right where the spot welds are. So now I got to grind all these off. It's going to take a good bit of time to do it. So we're going back on fast forward. Whew. Those sparks are hot. Wow. All right, I think I got them all ground down along this side. I'm gonna see if I can knock these loose, and then I'll switch over and grind the other side. See if I can get them loose. I think that's it. I believe it is. I think so. I think so. Yeah. All right, so let's flip it around and grind the other side. Maybe I got enough grinding done that I can go ahead and knock this thing the rest of the way off here. We'll see. All I got left's right here, but I don't know if I got this ground near enough. We'll see. See what happens. Got it. All right, we've got to get these little D-nuts out right here, all the way down. I think I can take my chisel and just knock them out. Hopefully I can. All right, I figured I'd be able to knock them out. And the reason why I knew it would be so easy, because they're brass. Not much to them. All right, so let's get the rest of them. I've got to stop hitting my hand. All right, so for the sake of me being tired of hitting my hand, I'm gonna hold this chisel with some vice grips. Had enough of hitting my hand. That's got all of them. All right, so I got those threaded inserts out where the bolts went to hold the rear body panel on. I got those out. And of course, you saw me get that inner piece out of here. So now I got to get these threaded inserts out right here, what's left of them, and these right here, so we can get this thing sandblasted. Oh yeah, and I got 2 rivets right here I got to get out. One. There we go. Got it. Got it. It won't matter how much I grind on that. I'm gonna weld the holes up anyway. Got it. One. There's 2. There's 3. Guys, this car leaves a trail of rust everywhere it goes. Look at that. Rust everywhere. But that's all right. We're getting rid of all this rust just as fast as we can. I think I got as much on my hands as left's on the car. But anyway, you can see the reason why I tore this thing apart the way I did. The inside of it's so rusty, it's got to be cleaned out to get this piece to where I can use it. It's really nasty. So anyway, I got to wait on some daylight to be able to sandblast this thing. So I'm going to call it a night, go in and get cleaned up. And then next time I got some daylight, I'm going to sandblast this thing. All right, I didn't want to bore you guys with all that sandblasting, so I got it done off camera, but everything didn't go as planned. So let me bring you in and show you what's going on right here with this, and then I'm gonna show you what my solution to the problem is. Okay, so here's the issue that I'm having with this thing. I got a couple of holes right here, nothing major. That's where there's a brace that goes here for the spare tire carrier. That's what made that rot out right there. It held moisture behind it. Not a big deal. I can weld that up pretty easy. So here's the problem I'm running into. The rust on the inside was just really thick. The sandblaster is already struggling to get all that out. But then when you couple that thick rust together with the fact that the sandblaster is having to blast at an angle, so the sand can't just spray straight on against the material here. It's blasting at an angle. So it's just struggling to get it out of there. So I blasted on that a pretty good while, and it just wasn't working out well. I could have got some more of it out down here in the bottom, like where I could blast straight on it. But you can see this spot right here, how thick that rust is. In that little spot. It takes forever to get that kind of stuff out because it's just so thick. It's been on there for so long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak this in evaporust for a while to try to loosen some of that up. And I got to make some kind of a makeshift container or something to hold the evaporust. So that's what I'm going to work on next. All right, so there's not going to be anything fancy here. This is just going to be a really quick little makeshift container out of 4 pieces of scrap wood and a garbage bag. I'm going to set this up, screw it together. It's only going to take just a minute to do it. And I'm going to use this to soak that cross member. All right, so that didn't take but like 10 minutes. That was real quick. All right, I got 2 layers of garbage bags on here, so hopefully it won't leak through. That's the plan. I hope I don't have evaporust all over my floor in the morning. We're gonna see what happens. All right, guys, I got it filled up. It took about 2.5 gallons to get that piece covered. It looks like my makeshift container is holding well. We're going to see how it looks tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow this thing will be rust free. So let's give it overnight and see. Oh yeah, the temperature's dropped too. See, I got this jacket on. We went from short sleeve weather yesterday to jacket weather. I've had a jacket on all day today. It's supposed to be in the 30s tonight. That's too cold for me. All right, let me get this thing out of here. I'll see you guys outside. All right, we're losing daylight pretty quick, so I got to get this done as fast as I can. I can just see rust coming out of there. Water hose is washing it off. All right, so what I got here is just some aluminum brightener, like you would use on aluminum to clean it. I have found that this aluminum brightener, when using it on steel, it cleans it up pretty good. Cleans bare metal up real good. So that's what I use. It may take a little bit more soaking. And guys, I'll tell you this too. I have soaked a lot of parts in Evapo-Rust, and it has always done a good job on everything except these Model A parts. And I don't know what it is about this rust on this Model A. Maybe it's just because it's been on there so many years, it's so deeply set in. I don't know. But I do know Evapo-Rust does not like to cut through it. It takes a lot of scrubbing to get through it. And it has been that way on everything that I've used Evapo-Rust on this car. I'll tell you another thing I found. I found that using the Evapo-Rust on the rust and then turn around and sandblast it again, that the rust comes right off a whole lot easier, as if the Evapo-Rust is soaking down into the rust and it's softening it or something, and it just makes it to where when you sandblast, it just comes right off a whole lot faster than if it had not been soaked. So I'm pretty confident that if I don't get it all off just by scrubbing it and cleaning it now, that I can sandblast it again after it's been soaking, and it'll just knock it right off really easily with no issue at all. All right, I'm running out of daylight, so I'll probably cut off the video right here, and I'll catch up to you guys in a little bit and show you what it looks like. All right, so I scrubbed it down, washed it down, and dried it, and I'm pretty pleased with the Evapo-Rust, what it did so far. It needs a little bit more time soaking. It's pretty good. It got about, I would say, 75–80% of the rust that was in it. It got it out. Now possibly it softened it, so when I go over it with a sandblaster, it'll just knock it right off. I'm gonna get this thing put into my vise, get a wire brush on the drill, and go to town on it and see how clean it comes with a wire brush. And then I'll know if I need to throw it back in the Evapo-Rust again. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up part one of the rebuild on this cross member. So I'm gonna show you what I got planned for part two of this video. All I got to do now is finish getting this rust off, and I'm ready to start fabrication. So that's where we'll start in the next one. But let me show you what my plans are for it, and that's where we'll pick up in the next one. All right, so in the next video, we're gonna fix these rust holes. We got some here to fix. We're gonna put in new threaded inserts into these holes. There's 8 of those. We're going to fix this rust hole. Then we are going to shave these holes. I'm going to fill these in. There's 2 holes right here. One's behind the vise. You can't see it, but those are for the spare tire carrier. We're going to fill those in. And then we're going to fabricate a new inner piece. I got some new sheet metal to do that with. So that's what's coming up. All right, guys, that's as far as I'm going to get on this video. The cross member's off the car. It's tore apart. I did some blasting, got it clean as I could. Soaked it in Evapo-Rust, got it clean as I could get it in that stage. It's ready to start fabricating on. Hey, I know what some guys would be saying. Why don't you just buy a new one? They don't cost that much. Well, like I said before, I need a lot of money to spend on this car if I'm gonna buy every piece new. So that's not gonna work out. I mean, I'm having fun rebuilding it. I'm rebuilding it for free. It's not costing me anything. I'm gonna use some metal I got laying around to fix it with. I am gonna have to buy those little number 12 by 24 threaded inserts, but those are a whole lot cheaper than a new cross member. So that's where we're at. Appreciate you guys watching. We're gonna get part 2 done next week. We're going to completely rebuild that cross member and make it be good as new. So appreciate you guys hanging out. See you guys in the next one.